What's up guys, it's me Lachlan here today with a brand new Battlefield 4 lock and loadout video, the series in which I bring you guys the best classes and loadouts that I know for you to take to the field with some tactics and variation to shake up your game and maximize your kill potential inside Battlefield 4. Now thanks to my most recent video on the Czech Republic Special Forces, I decided again to go with another themed class. Now today we're going to be looking at the German Special Forces Command, otherwise known as Kommando Spezialkräfte, or abbreviated as the KSK, and we're going to be running with a very interesting adaptive loadout fit for all purpose uses and fit for every single game mode and map within Battlefield 4. Now the loadout we're running with today is indeed based off of the assault class for two primary reasons. Firstly, the weapon we're using today is of course an assault rifle, and secondly I find that the general class itself is very adaptive. It allows you to approach almost any game mode and any map, because of course there will always be deaths inside Battlefield 4 and there will always be some kind of significant injury when in a gun or vehicular battle. So the assault class is actually very versatile and very effective when used correctly. So it's time to get a deeper look into the weapons that we're going to be using today, and as you can tell from the footage, our primary weapon is indeed going to be the M416 assault rifle. Now the M416 is an actually real life commissioned weapon called the Heckler & Koch HK416, which is used in the German Special Forces and widely across the world. Now one thing most people don't know is that it actually originated in Germany in 2005 and obviously is still in service today, with lots of different variations built upon the baseline model. Now as a secondary we are going to be using the G18, which is of course a standard issue Glock pistol which is widely used again internationally, but this fully auto variation is only used by very few because it sometimes is deemed as inaccurate, and it's also had a lot of other criticisms as well. But the KSK, otherwise known as the German Special Forces Command, which we're looking into today, do actually use this variation of pistol, and it does originate from Austria in 1982. The baseline Glock pistol came out in 1982 and still remains one of the leading small arms used worldwide. So before we get into some tactics and analysis, I'm just going to give you some details about the M416 provided by Synthetic.com. So start off with the M416 clocks in with a rate of fire of 750 RPM, a bullet muzzle velocity of 600 meters per second, and a bullet drop of 15 meters per second with an overall max distance of 900 meters. Its damage model follows suit with the rest of the assault rifles, with a maximum damage of 25 and a bare minimum damage of 18, as always distance and hit variant. With bullets in the mag you are looking at a reload time of 1.85 seconds, and without bullets 2.4 seconds, with an overall clip size of 31, so you may wish to hold in a spare bullet or two for that lesser reload time. Now in terms of recoil, we have an upward force of 0.32, a leftward force of 0.1 and a rightward force of 0.3, so a slight drag in the upper and rightward direction, with your first shot having a recoil multiplier of 2.2, so nothing necessarily uncontrollable. And finally, the spread of the bullets is indicated under the ADS and hip symbol in the top right corner of the image. As for the G18, we know it's a basic pistol, with the primary differences being that it's fully automatic and has a slightly lesser damage model because of the fact that it has a fully automatic mechanism, but feel free to check out Synthetic.com for the full statistics. So let's get into some tactics and overall analysis of this class, and one of the first things I wanted to say was just feel free to interchange the grenades as you feel necessary. You'll see eventually I landed in Operation Clusterfuck and decided that an RGO impact grenade would be best suited to that environment. But when we talk about grenades, one thing I always think is key is just to give the smoke grenade some consideration, especially if you're playing modes such as Obliteration or Rush. They can really be the difference, and even Capture the Flag is a good example of where smoke grenades can come into effect. So I was going to talk about how to play this class, where it's effective, where it's ineffective, and more importantly, how to use your tactics. But I found that's one of the reasons I really do like this class, is that there is no specified way to play it. Now if you look at the loadout just in general, it allows you to be very adaptive with how you play. The M416, for example, as a primary weapon is baseline. The general model, regardless of attachments or sights, is effective at short, medium and long range engagements and can be a very useful weapon and amplify how many kills that you can get with an assault rifle because of that distance advantage it has, because of the fact that it is so versatile. And more importantly with this class is that it allows you to adapt to the environments that you're in. Now Battlefield 4 will throw at you different kinds of environments, urban environments, open range environments, and various kinds of combat will come into play. So I find as a player it's really important to be able to adapt your guns and adapt your loadout based on the situations that you find yourself in. And with the M416, as you can see in the footage, I started changing things up. When I got into the short range engagements, I used close range one-time sights such as the red dot sight, I used RGO impact grenades, I used my G18 to my full advantage considering the fact that it's fully automatic, and overall I performed really well. But bearing in mind that I was playing team deathmatch, even in some long engagements that there are, because you will find there are some stretches of land in team deathmatch, I became effective again. Now what I found myself doing was changing the sights, changing what barrel I was using, changing the foregrip to adapt to the lands that I was present in. So at one point I did start using a PKA sight, I went with a stubby grip for added accuracy and a suppressor for that extra essence of silence, that extra essence of stealth, which is something that's really tactical within the game. And generally overall, this added ability of adaptiveness allowed me to maximize my KD potential and allowed me to play as a better team player in modes such as domination because I was pulling more of the fighting power and pulling more of the weight along with the game. So rather than looking at how to actually play the class because we know it's so simplistic and because we know it will adapt to how we want it to, we have to look at the setbacks of the class itself in order to cater towards that to make sure that we're not letting in any small errors. So for starters, one of my main complaints with the M416 is that most players at long range don't know how to control it properly. You really do need to use your burst fire and you do need to do short but very successive bursts in order to maximize your potential. Most people go for burst fire at a long interval of bursts and generally waste their mag because they're not hitting the target at all. Secondly, the overall mag size is only 31 and the bullets do come out at quite a successive rate. You'll be lucky to get 3 players, possibly 2 will be your general basis in one mag, so I would suggest keeping that extra fraction of a second when you're coming into reload times. I kept a bullet or 2 in the chamber because it was necessary, especially when you start getting close quarters. You're going to want to have that mag in and out as soon as possible to make sure that you're not getting killed during your reload, which is a real problem. And finally, my only complaint would be that the G18 isn't necessarily suited for any kind of long range engagement. Should you run out of ammo or should you in general have to switch to your sidearm because reload times are too long, don't expect to use the G18 in any kind of long range suited engagement because that fully automatic mechanism that it has is definitely not suited for that, and more importantly switching to single fire because of its lower down damage model really won't make that much of a difference as well. Now of course there are some flip sides to this. The G18, if you were to use it in close range engagements fully automatic, you're most likely to come out the victor, and more importantly M416, if you do control it correctly at long ranges, you will actually perform really well even against people who are using DMRs and snipers. So bear that in mind, there are always bad and good sides, pros and cons to every class that you will use. So guys, that's about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Special Forces Command of Germany and having a good look at what weapons they use, and more importantly trying to take these weapons to the field if you haven't already considered doing so. So if you want some more information about today's video, where I got my sources, what I've used to find out these weapons, and more importantly just the overall statistics of weapons that I've played with in game, have a look in the description below. There'll be lots of information down there. And as always, thank you for watching. It's been me, Lachlan. I'll see you again in another video very soon.